So the cadets have just headed out of the dummy grid. And here we have our grid. So on pole position, winning heat 1 was Charlie Wyatt. As we said, a terrible start, but made it all the way up, went down as far as 7th, and then flew back through the grid to take the lead and eventually the win. Second place is Lizzie Mentier. Third is Catherine Potter. Fourth, Jared Fox Whiteley. Fifth, Isabella Stanmore Wilson. And 6th, Thomas Potter. 7th, Ethan Gerling. 8th, Tom Holden. 9th, Leon Barlow. 10, Hudson Barker Dix. 11th is Josh Cooke, and alongside him in 12th is David Mack. 13th is Oliver Watson. 14th, Addison Smith. 15th, Jack Thompson. 16th, Alex Fraser. 17th, William Robinson, and 18th is Ethan Charles. 19th will be Sam Robson. 20th, Lewis Goff. 21st, Alex Lynn. 22nd, William George Howard. 23rd, Finley Stubbings, and 24th, Holly Allen. 25th, Cody Lamb. 26th, Harris Ali, and 27th will be Sophie Horsey.
So 27 drivers on our cadet grid. On pole position is Charlie Wyatt, running the number 23, but did win the O plate here, but electing to run the number 23 instead.
I would just like to point out Leon Barlow in the 42 with those neon yellow wheels and the neon yellow helmet.
Great, aren't they?
Love them.
Great.
Everybody else is just running black or silver wheels on the grid. Leon making himself very easily identifiable with that bright yellow helmet and bright yellow wheels. Also like the colour scheme on the 16 as well of David Mack.
That's a fresh livery on that. David Mack not used to run all black livery. He ran that for the first time at round number 2. Orange, black, and blue livery of the David Mack Racing colours. So as you see, our drivers being sent on their way into position. Last few drivers, like Sophie Pawsey, just moving to one side, retired from heat number 1, so we'll start heat number 2 from the back of the grid. That's Harris Ali, he's going to be sent on his way, then Sophie Pawsey will join the back of the cadet grid. You see there Leon Barlow looking behind in the 42, impatiently waiting, or some of our drivers looking behind. Get themselves ready. Looks like the final few drivers, and you'll see Pawsey in the 77 running the same colour scheme as Jared Fox Whiteley and Maximus Shields in the junior pro cars. Harris Ali, looks like we've got a
loose side pod.
Looks like we're going to have to that's the 27, isn't it, Harris Ali? That is the 27 of William George Howard. Looks like we're going to have a quick check. Looks like they are happy to let that one go. It just looks a little bit loose, so certainly no bolts missing. Start line marshal gets them going. The green flag is up. Green flag is down. We're underway in racing. The green flag held for a long time as Charlie Wyatt crept forward and then held position once again. Everybody makes their way round the national loop as the marshals frantically run to put the chicane back in place for lap number 2, and it's your leader Charlie Wyatt with Lizzie Mentier and Catherine Potter behind. Ethan Gerling though has come through from the 3rd row to take Jared Fox Whiteley. So Fox Whiteley down to 5th. Thomas Potter's in 6th place, gets his head down behind the steering wheel, but 8 years old, doesn't really need to dip that far to get behind the wheel. As Mack runs side by side with Josh Cooke. Josh Cooke goes right round the outside, explores every inch of South Bank.
Much better start from Charlie Wyatt. Held the lead and he's already pulling away, it seems, although with the slipstream, Lizzie Mentier has closed right back up again. But
I wonder if Mentier and Potter have had a little pre-race chat that says, let's push on together and see if we can just keep with Charlie for the opening few laps. Although, to be fair, Catherine seems to be struggling a little bit for grip on the way into the corner. Certainly into hairpin 1, seems to be sliding a lot wider than both Wyatt at the front and Mentier in second. Wyatt defending already though to the inside of the back straight into the South Bank corner.
Have a look.
I'll be honest with you, the screen doesn't really do it justice quite how high that circuit banks up as you go round the outside of it. Ethan Girling, Jarrah Fox-Whiteley in there, a 5-kart battle for the lead. Behind them, looks like we've got Thomas Potter, Isabella Stansmore-Wilson and David Mack coming through. A poor qualifying really for David Mack in the 16. Now starting to come through as the weather conditions dry out here. The sun shining upon us at the Teesside National Circuit in Middlesbrough for round number 3 of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series.
We're going to see a perfect example now of how strong the slipstream is in cadets, because Lizzie Mentier was a good 7 to 8 kart lengths back of Charlie Wyatt, and is closing right up again down the back straight and through South Bank Corner. Yeah, nice. We've also had a contact warning for Thomas Potter in 6th as well, so we missed that on camera unfortunately, but
I think that's going to be off the start, because he's been in front of Stansmore-Wilson and Max since the start of the race. So as they come over the line, 8 laps for our cadet drivers, that's 3 in the bag. It's Wyatt, Mentier and Potter, the top 3, and Wyatt's broken out a gap of around about 0.4 of a second to the chasing duo. Fox-Whiteley, Potter, Stansmore-Wilson, Mack, Holden and Barlow round out the top 10, and we've got Hudson, Barker, Dix, Josh Cooke, Oliver Watson, Jack Thompson, Addison Smith, Alex Fraser, Ethan Charles, Sam Robson, Lewis Goff and Finlay Stubbings round out the top 27 more drivers out there on the track. One of them, Cody Lamb in the 93, picks up a contact warning for his exploits, and Stansmore-Wilson, Potter and Mack are closing in onto the back of Ethan Girling and Fox-Whiteley, as Fox-Whiteley goes to the inside in a move that you rarely see, very late into that chicane and up into 4th place.
Yeah, fantastic move up the inside, as you say, late and rare to see, but managed to pull it off.
Yeah, normally those moves are done a lot earlier on down the straight, but Fox-Whiteley ran right round the outside, dived into the corner.
And with this group battling as well, that's actually given Lizzie Mentier and Catherine Potter a little bit of breathing room as well, as they try and stay in that tow of Charlie Wyatt out front. But oh, Catherine Potter's actually, I've just seen it out the window, Catherine Potter's actually sent it up the inside and got past Lizzie Mentier into hairpin 3. As we still look at the battle here, that's Thomas Potter going slightly wider to get better drive out of the corner, and he is down in 6th place. Fox-Whiteley up to 4th, Girling in 5th, Potter 6th, Isabella Stansmore-Wilson in 7th, and David Mack in 8th, all running nose to tail. Very wide through the national loop for, that was David Mack.
The 87 of Thomas Holden's closing right in on this pack as well. It's going to be a 6-car battle very shortly. These keep battling, and you'll notice on the front there, drivers running slightly different bodywork on the front end. The difference between the Mark 14 and the Mark 20 nose cone. The Mark 20 fairly new to karting. Tom, what are your thoughts on that Mark 20 nose cone?
It's definitely different, isn't it? It's a lot more.
Oh, that's the 58 round. That's
Sam Robson.
Sam Robson did say earlier that it was struggling. No, it's drier now, and he's spun on the outside of hairpin 1 and drops all the way back to the back of the pack.
Yeah, the new nose cones are an interesting addition. They're sort of halfway between what we call the hot dog nose cone that you see on some of the road tacks and what we're and the older style, the Mark 14. Actually, we've got a black flag there for
Ethan Charles in the 46 is black flagged, and I think that's more likely to be for something technical, something potentially hanging off that cart.
Well, I'll have a look into that. I'll have a word with the marshal just on the start-finish line in a moment, and we'll get to the bottom of why that black flag actually happened for Ethan. So at the moment we've got Charlie Wyatt leading, followed by Catherine Potter and Lizzie Mentier. Catherine Potter's actually pulled 6/10 out on Lizzie Mentier there, followed by Jared Fox-Whiteley, Ethan Girling, Thomas Potter, Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, and David Mack has now dropped 6/10 back from Stansmore-Wilson.
Holds in the background. We thought he might catch up onto the back of this pack, but hasn't been able to do so thus far. Behind them is a great battle between Leon Barlow and Hudson Barker Dix. Now those two are parked next to each other in the paddock, so let's see how friendly this battle is onto the back straight between those two. But we are half a lap away from the checkered flag. Out at the front is Charlie Wyatt. Doesn't look like any back markers are going to come into play for him, so all of our field are going to get through before the checkered flag on this occasion. The checkered flag, though, does await the number 23, and it's 2 from 2 for Charlie Wyatt. Catherine Potter will come through in second with Lizzie Mentier in third. Jared Fox-Whiteley takes fourth. Ethan Girling and Thomas Potter cross the line side by side, with Girling in front of that battle. Stansmore, Wilson, Mack and Holden. And on the final lap, Hudson Barker-Dix does in fact find a way past Leon Barlow for 10th place. Those two drivers coming over line astern, with Josh Cooke in 12th, Oliver Watson 13th. And you'll see Oliver's dad, Paul, out in a few moments in the Rotax class.
I'm just going to nip down and see what the black flag was for. Bear with me a moment.
So, as Tom is dispatched to do some detective work, engages full Poirot mode. We'll congratulate Charlie Wyatt on another fantastic victory in what appears to be his final weekend of cadet racing before he moves into the two-stroke class. So Wyatt, the 23, joined the season, joined cadets last year from round 4 and made an immediate impression, getting 3 consecutive pole positions, and averaged 185 points in cadets last year, which would have easily put him in the top 5 had he done all the races. Won the Teesside Oplate as well as the Wombwell Cock of the North, and finds himself 2 victories down already in the cadet class. Tom is back alongside me. Tom, what's the verdict?
I'm told it was for contact. Was it Sam Robson that we saw spun around in hairpin one?
We saw Sam spun round, yes. So that's Sam spun round. Ethan Charles in the 46 got the black flag, and he will start heat number 3 from the back. I spoke to Ethan at round 1. A lovely little lad, so polite, thankful for the opportunity to go racing. He was.
Gets the red mist when the helmet comes on.